All right, let's get after it. Got some mountain action going on here. So, you know, just random mountains to go with your anonymous random eagle. So we got a lot to go over here. Pop some popcorn, but it's not that bad. It's just a lot. There's just a lot of parts, and we've got some targets we have to hit to make sure this thing installs properly. So we'll just go over all that. So let's get the page turner out here. All right, so let's start with the lay of the land. You got this space crab thing going on, whatever this is. So just like the eagle, you got some internal jigs, just kind of solid one pieces. And then you have a bunch of internal pieces here. You're going to rivet all this together, just like the eagle. You got your hard candy shell. And as you remember with the tester, you guys did this kind of channel system. So this is the whole thing right here. Got port and starboard sides. These are going to be your main skins on the main cabinet. And then this is going to be your channel. I'm calling it the channel. Those are the actual channel letter parts that the LEDs are going in. I'm calling those the channels. And then we've got the 1/4 inch kind of internal thing, just like the eagle, lift point, main structure. We've got some tabs. Just, you know, since we got it dialed in, thumbs up on the little pre-mounted holes. So that should save us some time. And here's our tough act for that, for the LEDs there. All right, so excuse me, just like the eagle, you're going to start with that 1/4 inch kind of main box. This is it kind of assembled. It attaches up against E, the internal Jiggy 090 there. You'll have a dog bone, and then but this is it's kind of at a slant, and then F and G will also kind of dog bone in and slide over this whole structure. But these are going to be your boxes for your tubing right here. Just like the eagle, you got your little internal pieces here. You got little slices here for running power through if we have to, but I'll go over that. Originally, we're going to try to thread the power through this thing, but I think I came up with a solution that's going to be a lot better for everybody. So, so you can see here's F and G right here. Those will slide over. So anyway, so get this guy kind of welded up, tacked up, good to go. I believe you can kind of fully weld this because then you're just going to put the jigs together around it. Is a little different than the eagle. So I think the eagle's a little more integrated and kind of more of a pain in the butt, but this is just a more simple, get this welded up and then it'll fit in here. Also keep in mind you have these two tabs that will be on the outside and that'll be ready to receive the 2x2 that's going to slide through. So you're going to have a piece of 2x2x8 that's going to slide through this part and it's going to lock in here and then you're going to burn this to this and then these guys here. So that's kind of extends out. That's what these two nuggets are here for. So I don't know if you want, make sure you don't weld on the inside, but I don't know how that'll work if you want to just tack it so that way you can kind of bonk them and make sure that this piece, this 2x will slide in there and then you can burn it before you put the skin on. So yeah, you have to, you know, wait and see how you jump off that bridge when you get to it. Anyway, so get this welded up and then just like the eagle, get all these pieces ready and then you're going to put the 1/4 inch in here and then you're going to go ahead and just rivet everything together just like the eagle, make it easy. Unlike the eagle, these splices for these pieces go on the inside. So put those to the inside and you'll go ahead and just rivet that together. And then like the eagle, the main skins are in multiple pieces here. So wherever these splices are going to land, here and here and there, on the Jiggy, you're going to have these little fake pieces that go to the outside. So you can either lords those on, or I'd probably tack them on the outside and then clean them up. And that way, when we go to put the main faces on there, we'll have a little stabilization point there. So, okay. So that gets us like this guy here and all that's ready to go. Now, when it comes time to do, you have some internal 1/4 inch plates to put these two sections together. Now, again, I apologize for jumping around. So I dedicated this one, the one that has the mounting in it. We're going to do that as the round M. So everything's going to have a reference kiss mark that's going to be the round M for this side. And then I've got sort of the diamond M for this side. So you'll notice everything's going to have a diamond M on it that's supposed to be here. And you know, this one's going to have the round M. So bringing these together, because this is going to be over 10 feet, and then this one's going to be over 10 feet. So of course, you know, taking them up to the location and all that, probably be better to just transport these separately. Whether they lift them or not, I'm not really planning on having them lifted as one, but you're going to have a bolt together section here. It could be strong enough, but would have to really kind of scratch your head on that. But I have it kind of set where you're going to lift this and then attach this. But where these attach, you're going to have 1/4 inch plate, and here is going to be kind of the most important one because that's going to attach to the main box. So we don't want to miss these plates. You'll notice that these plates here, you have your number 8 with your diamond M. This has 1/2 inch nuts. Go ahead and weld those up like we do. And that's going to go inside here. You see it has a notch. And then most importantly up here, we have 2 of these plates that are going to go back to back. Now the round one here is the one that has the round M. That has our nuts here. And then on this side, there is no nuts. This is going to be 1/2 inch through, and that's on this side here. So you can see where I have this nugget and I have this nugget. This is going to be access in. So for install, they'll have direct shot with like ratchets or whatever to get to these bolts, but that's how this is going to go on there. So essentially this thing's going to slide down on the pipes. Hopefully the holes are there. They're going to bolt this in, maybe keep it a little loose, and then you pick and bring this piece up and set it down, and it's going to go ahead and grab what little bit of the 2x2 that sticks out. You have this little nub of 2x2. The other one is just going to rest on that, and then that gives install a chance to come in, bolt this together, and then over here will be a bolting system that is yet to be determined, but at least I know where this target is and I can work out from there. So we want to make sure this plate gets in there. And then there's a little top plate here that gives like a vertical brace. So you want to dog bone this in, and then this vertically, you can see where that locks in there. So you want to get that all in there nice before you put the shell on, get that burnt in and get that attached, and you can see where the Jiggys are all notched for that. So you see where the plate, that's where that plate goes when you bring in your round M, and then you bring it into the square M. You can see where that one is notched, and then where this guy goes down here, this is number 8. You can see where that lays in there, and then you'll have your vertical there. So make sure that all gets in there really well. Same thing here. You're going to put this brace, this splice is to the back and just rivet it, but then the front has this little guy here. That's a stabilization piece, so I'd probably just tack it like you did the Eagle, and then just go ahead and clean it up. So anyway, so that'll get you to that far where you have the Jiggys all in, everything's riveted. You get these 1/4 inch pieces all bolted in or welded in nice and get ready because that's going to be structural. You got your cut list, so it's a 30-degree cut to make that little stick up there. So you got that guy there, and then this one here is just going to slide through. It's going to start at vertical C. See, I have everything labeled, so it's easy for you guys. So it starts at vertical C, couple inches there is fine, and then just make sure you have some sticking out of I. So you can see where that's just going to be there for lift. I have an opening. You can see where the nuggets are there. This is an opening here, so they can do a cinch, and then you have an opening here. You can do a cinch strap. And you probably have to, you have to use uneven straps there. But so theoretically, like I said, this will go into place. The holes should be there. They can bolt it, just let it sit, and then bring this in and kind of push it around, and then make sure that this goes to that mounting plate, which is yet to be determined, but that's coming up. And then that will allow for install. Once we get this thing built, though, we can go ahead and bolt it together and see how it behaves, and maybe with a big enough strap, because I have this clevis here, with a big enough strap, maybe, if it goes up high enough, we can get enough to where we can maybe lift the whole thing at once. So we'll have to determine that. But it's going to be heavy and unwieldy, so it's kind of up to install. So anyway, so you get your jigs, get everything riveted together. again, just look for the diamonds and look for, I have everything, you know, letters and everything goes corresponding to everything here. All these scribe marks go out so you can see what's going on. Just like the eagle, you're just going to follow everything. And then once you're done with that and everything's good, then it's hard candy shell time. So you go ahead and put your you know, follow way around 1, 2, 3, 4, just like that, and just, you know, all the way around, weld it up just like the eagle, clean it up, and then you should be ready. Excuse me. At that time, yeah. So at that time we're ready for Skinzzz. So then you're just gonna lords on your main Skinzzz here. So and I have the face out, so I have scribes out. All this will be hidden, so don't worry about it. But that way you'll be ready for when you do your channel returns. All this will be labeled for you. So you'll have your splice piece on the other one I talked about. So you just lords this boy on there, get it all nice. Lords this one on, and then that way that'll be the main structure basically. And I think that'll be about done as far as that's concerned. So once you have that all done, then we transition over to doing the channels. This is more of the sample that you did, right? If you remember, you know, we did this part here. So again, 4.5 or 4 1/4 return, nothing changes there. Actually, you know what? I think I have 4.5. Better change that up for you guys. Yeah, I'm gonna do that right now. Ha. Let's see. There you go. Error correction on the fly. So yeah, it's 4 1/4 depth. Just like you did though, I have it all laid out here. You got 22 strips, 11 per side. So let's just go over, I think that might be the first thing you do because you want to get all the welding over with. I mean, obviously you're going to bend all these pieces up. Woohoo! Look at that. Somebody's standing at the break for a while. You're going to have to Rochambeau for that and see who paper, rock, scissors there. Short end of the stick there. So for the 050, it's going to start up here. And it's going to wrap around, and you're going to weld it just like you did reverse channel. You're going to start up here, and then bring it around and just follow the bottom. You did an excellent job on the sample. Looked great. So keep that going. Now, so this piece here is going to be the splice for the face. So I don't know how you want to do this, but the idea is that this is going to be put on there. So you kind of need to do the return first. But this needs to be spliced. So I don't know if you just want to do it in sections and then somehow stabilize that return with a little piece or something, because you can't really do the return if this is loose. But the idea is that this face is going to be stabilized by this piece, but you can't put that piece on because obviously you can't weld the return when this is in the way. So you might end up doing the returns just in the sections. And then when it comes time to put this piece on, you're going to weld this piece to it. And then you might have to do like you might have to weld here or something or kind of help stabilize that somehow, or slide a piece of bent metal on the inside with some lords or something to stabilize that return. But like I said, you're going to go ahead and do the 050 return all the way along the bottom, all the way here. Now, when you get to the, excuse me, I don't know what's going on with my voice here. When you get up here to the top, I went ahead and made a 1-inch flange is what I'd like to see. And if anything, actually, we want to go ahead and maybe make this guy in a little bit. We can probably overcook it a little bit. There you go. So it can be away from the edge. So the idea is you're going to bring this up here, but we're going to have a 4 1/4 inch, piece of return just flapping, boing, boing. So I would go ahead and lay out a 1-inch bend it up. And then that way you can weld it to the face, and that way this corner will be reinforced. If you can imagine, this will be a reinforced edge, and it'll be reinforced by this piece. And then kind of the same thing. You want to do a bend piece here. Again, it can be even overcooked a little bit. It can come back like this a little bit. But we want to burn it to the face and then bring it around. That way this will be a nice bent corner instead of a flappy cut piece. And then you're going to bring this around, ring this around, just like the other one. Follow, follow, follow all the way. And then you're going to see a reference kiss right here. If Jose's on it or if Mike's on it, you're going to see an inside reference kiss. You're going to stop here because you can see where the face kind of comes down. And again, do a 1-inch bend up and go ahead and secure that. And then this is where the mounting plate goes. And so we have no return here. but then you're going to want to dummy up the end because obviously you can see the end. So the end is just going to be a little piece of 050, and then you're going to bend it and have again, a secure corner. Now there's no bend here because we don't want shadows, lights coming out of the top here. So we can't have a little flange there. But for this flange here, we want to make sure that that's, otherwise, again, we're going to have just a straight piece of 05 bending right here, flapping around. So we want to bring this around and nail it down. But again, that shouldn't be in the way of the mounting plate, because the mounting plate, I believe, is going to be something like right about here. So anyway, so that's kind of how to do the returns. Again, I don't know how that'll work with doing this, but then also having to weld, this piece on there. So you'll have to kind of jump off that bridge when we get to it. So once you get the returns on there, you get all these guys bent up, and just like when you did the sample, you're going to have a little internal jiggy piece that's going to hold together your channel pieces, and then that'll allow you to kind of tack that together, and then you can then weld that to the inside of the face return there. So I have that in sections here. If you look over here, I have basically from A all the way to G, and then I have G all the way to H. And by putting those together, it'll give you the whole section. Basically, this is the round M section. So you'll be able to attach, I have them mirrored here. So you'll start at A here, and then you'll put those all on, cleco it all together until you get up to H, and then you can go ahead and tack all of this together as one unit, and then you'll have that all together like that. Then you can take this whole unit and you can cleco it and weld it to the faces here, right there. And then that way you'll have that whole section ready to go. And then do the same for the other side. Take your jigs, cleco everything together. So you can see where like M is long enough. M will hold this together as one piece, and use M to hold this all together. And then once you have this all as one piece, then you can bring it up here and attach it all there and weld it up. And that way that'll all be one piece. So at which point you're going to go ahead and take the other pieces. If you remember these pieces here, just the single bend pieces, these angle pieces, these ones get attached to the main skin to receive all this nonsense. Now remember, this is going to be lordsed at this point, the faces. So I don't think you're going to want to weld. I know on the sample, you welded that piece to this skin, but remember, this is going to be lordsed. So I would want to probably lords this, and because you're not going to see this, you probably get away with either throwing in some safety rivets here and there. They don't even need to be countersunk, or you could I would shoot some self-tappers into each of these, one or two, just to give a little safety for the lords. But I mean, obviously the lord's not going anywhere. And for that matter of fact, you can shoot some safety rivets into a lot of this stuff if you want. But I know if you shoot some screws through this channel here, if you shoot a couple screws through here, then that will be going through this face, and then you're actually probably grabbing the shell, although I did clearance these holes, but it'll basically be kind of safetying off. But feel free to throw some countersunk rivets on any of this on the main frame, every so often if you want. Rewinding a little bit, just like the Indio letters, you're going to have that issue of you're having all this void. So you're going to lords around the frame, and that's great. But all of this is going to be, void. So we talked about that. You can either burn a bunch of lords, or the DTM stuff we brought in is it's up against its manufacture date. But maybe do a sample, take a couple pieces of 09, squish them together, and let them sit for a minute and see what's up. Let them sit a day. But otherwise, or do we just, use silicone in there? We talked about that already, but you're going to have to fill up all this void. But again, what this means though, is you're going to have all this lords together, and then the mainframe skin, you're not going to want to weld against this now. Remember, you want to weld first, then lords, never weld on top of lords. So all of these channels here, I would suggest lordsing them on, and then you can shoot some safety rivets or just some safety screws. But all this channel stuff here, it all goes to the main skins, but because you're welding these returns on first, this is already going to be heated and welded, so you might as well just weld through here. And again, I gave you plenty of 3/8 to weld. You can weld on the outside as well to tack it to that face. But I'm seeing this whole system just welded, and I'm seeing the other system is going to be lords because it's going to be cold lords. So anyway, so once you have these parts all done and put together, then you can look, like I say, you can weld these to the main skins, and that'll be all one unit, and then we're happy. So I think that brings us up to, like I said, there's a lot going on, but it's not that difficult. It's just check off the procedures, and then you're good to go. But just these different little targets, these little things we want to make sure we have success with, just don't lose sight of that. Now when it comes time to LEDs and the polycarbs and whatnot, so I kind of had to go around and around a little bit, and I actually, last minute, 11th hour, I changed how this whole thing goes together. I had it all set, and then I was like, oh, you know what? This is the way to do it. So let's bring up, so we got the polycarbs, nothing crazy here. Just make sure you have the right, I have starboard for S for starboard, and we have port for P. And again, unfortunately, there is a P part, but don't let that throw you. You have the M, you have the O, P, and Q. So, don't get confused with the port part and the starboard part with the S and the P. Anyway, so go ahead and shoot on all your tabs. They go to the outside only, which is fine. And so let's talk about how the LEDs run. This will also be kind of for install. I'll probably go over this with install directly, or I'll make another install video. But if install you're watching, I know you are. So the idea is that there's two things we got to do. We got to obviously light the mountain, right? Okay, fine. But we need to get power up to the eagle, the anonymous eagle, the random eagle up here. So because this is going to be 20 feet, just because this is going to be 20 feet by itself, we're going to have, I don't want any voltage drop. So we're going to have to run the heavy 12 gauge up to the eagle. So that way, because not only that, but we're going to have, 30-foot box or whatever. And so even there, we're going to have a couple feet of drop depending on where the power supplies go. But the idea is we'll have all the power supplies in the main box. And then again, it's to be developed, but I have at least a target to hit. I'll figure all that out. I'll blow up that bridge when I come to it. But essentially this right here is going to be power through, and that's going to come through the spot here into this little collection point. So this will be kind of our collection point here. And so that's where it all kind of starts. So power supplies will feed into this little spot somehow from the main box. And then there'll be a cover here, take that off. So then we can wire up the starboard mountains that go up this way. That'll be the polycarbs, and I'm seeing like page wire. It's all we need. Nice flimsy page wire is fine. And then the port mountains will be on the other side. That's fine. They'll have power out. So like I said, I'm not sure we're going to be bringing these together in the shop and then taking it or lifting it as one. Or when this piece goes on first install, basically they will have access to a little box here and a little box here, and they'll be able to bring the wires up and connect and everything and bring it up, and then you'll have that. So, and we still need to kind of figure out how we get these wires up to the eagle, but that's again another bridge we have to blow up when we get to it. But the idea is that, again, we're going to run the 12 gauge up to here and then connect and keep 12 gauge going all the way up to the eagle, so we have little voltage drop. And then these will just be the splice points for the mountains anyway. So the whole idea, though, again, is it'll be LEDs in the polycarb all the way along. The polycarbs are broken into sections here, so you'll have power through to start and then come along here. And then we'll just have a blue page jumper inside the polycarb, inside the channel, inside here. So that'll be where this lives. And then, kind of wire it up and then install it as one piece. Then you'll have this jumper here. This leash will be big enough, and that's this leash right here. So that leash goes through into the main cabinet. So you want to have a couple feet on that just to make sure it's long enough to play with. So that's this part here. Same thing here. This leash will be the long one, couple feet, and then it will continue along here with LEDs, and then we'll have a mini jumper from this LED to this LED, just a small blue, but that'll be installed all ready to go in the mountain already. So that's kind of an external splice somewhere around here. So when it comes time for this 12 gauge wire, you'll see that I have big points of entry here and here and here in the framing and here. So that's basically how it's going to enter the main framing and then re-exit into the channel. So as you can see, the wire is going to actually be in the outside channel here, because I was like, how am I going to get this to feed through the main structure? This main structure is so full of crud here, trying to get 12 gauge wire through and having to make a bunch of access ports and everything. So I went ahead and said, well, you know what, we have this 4¼ inch channel here. So what we can do is take that 12 gauge wire and put it inside here. And we can you guys can either use the zip tie stickies, little pads, or you can do some 050 strips where you just kind of chomp it and then you can kind of bend it, tack it to there and then bend it and it'll hold it. Either way, the wire is going to live inside the channel, this little void here inside the face channel. So that's it. Make sure you have long enough leashes to go, another foot or so out. Same thing here. It's going to come into here and you'll have both of them there. Now you can, on the 12 gauge for the Eagle, you'll have 2 circuits, but you can keep them both on the same side. You can just stack the wire on top of each other. You don't need to put one circuit on one side and one circuit on the other. You can just stack both wires next to each other, just like that. And, just like that. And then you either zip tie them down with the pads, or again, you can do a little tack on 050 clip that kind of keeps things stable. So you'll make sure you have plenty there, 12 gauge. Now you'll see where this is, I have this at a 1/2 inch, which is kind of close, 3/8, but it gets super pinched right here. So I did you a favor on N. I made this little hole right here. So this little hole is, you don't run it through. It's just, this is going to be a clearance for when you bring this wire through here, the wire can hump up in there and come back down. So I made you a little clearance right there. So, all good. But anyway, I don't see any other issues. It gets a little tight there, but should be fine. And then same thing here. You're just going to run that along there, both wires, make sure it's secure, and then leave a leash enough out to where it'll come into the main body. So I went ahead and made you reference scribes, kind of like we do with the beach row letters. I make a little kiss to show you where to collect your leashes. So once this is all one unit, it's all done, you've got your channels on there and everything, then you can just take some 12 gauge wire, give it a couple foot here and then bring it around, and then right around here, make sure you got about a 2 foot or something, and then make sure there's 2 of them on one, and that's all we need. And then same thing here. So make sure it's right around here is where your leash ends, make sure it's stable, bring it around, sneak it through, and then right about here, give ourselves another 2 feet. So, and then that should get us wired up for the Eagle. But again, we need to figure out how we get from here to the Eagle, whether it's a little piece of conduit or we try to, drilling into the steel is going to be a real pain in the butt. I don't know how, to get from here. So this will be the collection point, just so you know. So in this cavity here is plenty of room. So you'll have those 12 gauges. So we need to get out of this pocket. Either we have to drill into the steel and then drill out of the steel inside the Eagle, which is a pain in the butt, or, the Eagle is going to be right about here. So whether we can just sneak up, straight up, and drill a hole in the bottom of the Eagle and just take it up, that'd be great. But you'll see I have a little area right here. This is all recessed for that. Oh, wait, no, it's E, part E. There it is. Yeah. So right here, we got a little hole right there. So that's where that wire is going to live, right in this little pocket. So, all right. So I think that's it. We got the electrical handled. So, let's see. I think that makes sense. We got that 4¼ Good thing I saw that. But I'll update the PDF for that. But you got your cut list, mainframe Jiggys, Lords. Don't weld on top of Lords. Maybe do some safety rivets here and there. But I think you guys got it. I think it's all pretty straightforward there for you guys. So if you have any questions, you know where I'd be.
Check.